Hello, everybody. This is Howard the Teaserking coming to you with Week 9 of college football. Had a huge week in college and pro last week. 4 locks winning. The college locks were Memphis over with Tulane, 2 pretty high scoring teams, and the Air Force Hawaii game over, which was really explosive game, and 2 high scoring teams, and Hawaii doesn't have a defense, so they play just about everybody over if you can get a decent over. Then there was LSU, Penn State, the Navy, which I gave you. So those were played in multiple teasers. And San Diego, lock of the year, wins easy. Should have won the game. They had the ball at the goal line, and Melvin Gordon fumbled. And now they're going to trade him. So that's what tells you. You sit out, you can't fumble at the goal line twice. Well, he took 2 shots, couldn't get in. Why isn't he running wide with his speed? You don't run into the middle, into a wall. That's just stupid. And, that's, again, bad play calling by the offensive coordinator when they run straight ahead at the goal line. You got to create a hole, pull the guys, do the Packers sweep, pull your guard and tackle, and knock over somebody and gain 2 yards. But they were played in 3 teasers. Houston, another winner in the pros. I had Seattle over, and New England, easy. So that's what last week was a very good week. Plus, I had them in multiple teasers. So when you win, you're winning 2 or 3 times, which is really the strategy here. Find the good teams and play it. So getting a lot more information, getting a lot more, I know the teams very well now, so now the games are much easier to pick. They're not as risky because of the uncertainty of how's the quarterback going to play, how's the team, how's the new coach doing. So now you've kind of weeded that mess out. You're still betting against Rutgers. I had Minnesota because they were playing Rutgers. That was the only reason. You still, you're playing against weak teams, which you can identify, but then the switch. UCF's not as strong. San Jose State's not as weak. So that's what happens from last year to this year. Army's not as strong, but Navy's strong this year. So you've got to switch. I remember a couple years ago I was on Navy all the time, locking on winner after winner. Last year was Buffalo. Haven't played Buffalo this year. I played Army once or twice, got off of them, and now I'm back with Navy again. So I'm looking at every team and trying to identify where the weak teams are and the strong one. And most of it is looking at weak defenses, teams that give up 30, 40 points. I got a good offense, and I got to get a good line. But if it's like Hawaii, where they have a strong offense and a weak defense, like last week, and they're playing Air Force, and the over-under was 60. So it's 54. I said, that's for sure a lock. That's why it was a lock. Had it been 80, you can't touch it. So it's getting that right game at the right line. So I'm doing that very well. This week, a little bit harder of a week. You got a lot of the road favorites that I like, but I'm not quite sure on, like a Penn State over Michigan State, like LSU. LSU, I think, is at home. Yeah, they're at home to Auburn. That's kind of a big line, 10. Notre Dame, Michigan. Michigan was favored. Now it's like even. What the hell is that? Can anybody explain why Alabama is a 32-point favorite without their quarterback? I don't get it. That's where they do all their scoring. You can't just bring in the backup and expect them to light it up. And who are they? They're playing. It's funny. I put a question mark next to the line, going, "Who the hell's making this line?" Where is it? Come on. Oh, yeah, they're playing Arkansas, who's not, I don't know, they lost to San Jose State, so they're not very good, and then they play A&M very strong. But they're 31.5 now over Arkansas, and I'm like, why is the spread that big? without Tuglaova, there's the backup quarterback. Who knows how good he is? If it was Jalen Hurts coming in, I might lay the 31, but can't lay 31 against with the backup you've never seen before. I don't know. I don't get that. But they haven't been covering. I think their defense is weak. And offensively, something doesn't add up. They're running something where these receivers are so open, it makes this Tuglivu look so strong. But when he gets into the pros, these wide receivers aren't going to be wide open. Look at Atlanta's got that other guy. They got Julio Jones and Ridley, and Ridley doesn't run he's not wide open and running circles around everybody in the pros like he did at Alabama. So I don't know what they're doing there, but you can't justify a quarterback from there. You have no idea. Anyway, so like I said, Navy's been playing well. I've gotten off the Army and the UCF bandwagon and the Buffalo bandwagon, and I'm finding new bandwagons. So let's go to a game that, unfortunately, I picked the line dead on. I was hoping, this is Wisconsin, Ohio State. Had Wisconsin just won last week with the 10-point lead and win by 10, Ohio State would have been a 7. And Ohio State would have been the lock of the year laying 1 or laying 2. Anything under 3 would have been a huge, huge lock. Because they're not going to lose to Wisconsin. As you saw, Wisconsin on the road and Wisconsin at home are two different animals for some reason. So, but when they lost, I said that line's going to be 14. Sure as shit, the line's 14, even going up. Over under of 50. Here's where I'm going, 50, I might be able to get something there. And I apologize if some of my customers aren't big over-under players and they'd rather have me pick a game. But when you look at the whole breakout, then let's look at it. Ohio State scores 50 points a game, gives up 8. Wisconsin scores 40 points a game, gives up 8. So you have two strong defense. Wisconsin shut out 4 teams. But Wisconsin on the road for some reason last week, well, they gave them a fumble. I don't know how many scores where they actually drove the ball. Sometimes what happens is the defense scores where it's a kick return, and it looks like the defense let up the points when they weren't even on the field. So I'm not sure how much Illinois drove and scored, but they ended up with 24 points. So what does that tell me? So it tells me Ohio State can score on them. That Wisconsin at home is different than Wisconsin on the road. Maybe there's injuries. I don't know. Maybe they were looking ahead. I don't know. But the defense doesn't look ahead. What I do notice is Jack Cohn, their quarterback, is not very good. He looked good against Michigan, but so does everybody else. He did not look very good in Michigan State. In a few other games, I think, I don't remember who they played, but there was a couple. I don't know if they played Iowa yet. I'm trying to look at the schedule where he looked terrible. I'm not sure if it was the Michigan State game, but I didn't watch that game. Anyway, he looked average. He didn't really look very good. He made a lot of bad decisions. And now on Ohio State side, they haven't played. Well, Indiana gives up 21 a game, and they lit them up. They didn't play Michigan. They didn't play Iowa. They did play Michigan State, who gives up 21 a game, and they put up, I think, 38 on them. So they didn't score 50 on a Michigan State team. Cincinnati, they beat 44-0, and Cincinnati lets up 20 a game. That tells me Ohio State's going to probably get in the 30s here. Maybe a little bit more. But not too much more. Wisconsin, I don't know that they'll even score in the game. Wisconsin scores 40, but again, Against Illinois, they could only score. Illinois gives up 30 points a game. They couldn't even get 30 on them, plus all the turnovers. Now, yeah, you can say it's a look ahead, but it's not like you don't play football. So I'm becoming less and less impressed. With Jonathan Taylor, who, let's see, he's almost got 1,000 yards in 7 games, 136 yards a game, and 15 touchdowns. Now, again, you remember him from the Michigan game, where I could have run for 200 yards against that defense. They weren't getting in the way. They weren't tackling. And keep in mind, Michigan, what they do, they're all worried about getting drafted. If you notice, they don't play in the bowl game because they might get hurt. So Michigan mentality is to not get hurt for fear of not being drafted high. They're only in it for the business. They're not in it because they're football players, which is why Michigan had so much trouble beating any good team. I'm surprised they beat Iowa, a whopping 10-3 game there. Anyway, let me look at the stats. So if you look at this, the quarterback in the Big Ten. So if we look at Ohio State, Justin Fields, 70% throwing, 1,500 yards, 213 in game, 22 touchdowns, 1 interception. Have they played anybody good? Cincinnati's probably the best team they've played. That even tested them. Michigan State, good defense. So they did play a couple of good defenses. He just ripped Michigan State up. Now Wisconsin, Jack Cohn, he's 76%, 127 out of 167, only for 197 yards. He's throwing short passes. 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I'm surprised there's not more. So obviously the quarterback's better. When you look at Ohio State's defense, we'll take a quick look there. And this is what I mean by matchup. So let's look at defensively. So right there, the top 2 teams in the country. Wisconsin gives up 7.6, Ohio State gives up 8, and here's Penn State at 10. And if we look at the defense, Wisconsin gives up 194 a game, 58 yards rushing, 135 passing. Well, what happened to that defense last week? Because Illinois ripped them. Ohio State gives up 92 yards on the ground, 136 passing. And Ohio State's played much better competition. Well, Wisconsin played Michigan and Michigan State, but again, what happened with Illinois? So you have this, they played them at home. Michigan really doesn't run the ball very well. They don't really pass the ball very well, and they were getting killed. So therefore, you just tee off and play for the pass. And in their stats, sacks are counted against the run, not the pass. So if you get a lot of sacks because you're leading, it makes it look like your run defense is better, which it isn't. Against Michigan State, I mean, they got some pick sixes there, but they didn't really score that much against the tough run defense in Michigan State. So my summation is, I kind of like Ohio State minus 8, 8.5. I think they win. But I think the better play is the under. The over-under is 50 to go under 56. I just feel when you have 2 dominating defenses, Ohio State's defense will just, there's no way Taylor's going to get 100 yards. So you're going to take him away. As Ohio State gains the lead, Cone gets worse and worse because now Ohio State tees off, sacks him. They'll throw interceptions. He's not very good. Fields, again, played Michigan State very, very well. Cincinnati very, very well. Those are the 2 teams I'm keying off of. They didn't have a real problem marching up and down the field on those 2 teams. So Wisconsin's defense maybe is a little bit better. Again, with their weak schedule, you don't know, and you give them Michigan who didn't try in the game. So basically, in Wisconsin, they might have a chance. Slim. Here, I give them no chance at all. I think Ohio State gets in the 30s. I can't really see them not scoring 30 points at home the way they're playing. They can run. They got backups. They can throw the ball. Fields is very good. I don't think that they're two-dimensional team, right? They're going to run and they can throw. So it makes it very hard on the defense. Who do you key on? You're going to take who away? Fields. You're going to take the receivers away. You're going to take the running unit, Dobbins away. You start taking Dobbins away, he's throwing it. You start taking the throw, he runs it. Very dangerous team. The other hand, Wisconsin, all they do is run the ball, basically. They hand it to Taylor. Well, Ohio State's going to key on that. They'll take Taylor away. Taylor won't be able to do anything. Like I said, he'll be lucky to get 50 yards in the game, much less 100. Will he break a run? I don't know. I think Ohio State, I can see him just getting no yards till like the fourth quarter or third quarter when, Ohio State's got the lead. Unless Wisconsin, their only hope in this game is to have 2 or 3 pick sixes or some sort of fumbles or block punts, something where they're not driving the ball down the field and get cheap scores. Ohio State, fumbles at the goal line and throws a pick six from the 5-yard line and stuff like that. Ohio State should not march up and down the field, but will definitely, they'll be in the 30s, and I just don't think Wisconsin can get into the 30s. Hence, under 56 is a really strong bet. Ohio State -8. Again, we got to see how Wisconsin does in the game and how strong Wisconsin's defense will play them. If it's like the Michigan State game, it took Ohio State a whole quarter. It was 0-0, and then finally they started pulling away, and then they just, dominated them. But Michigan State had a wide open guy for a touchdown, and the quarterback overthrew him. So, Ohio State's defense wasn't perfect either. But I think because it's such a run-oriented offense and Taylor, they're not going to be able to run on Ohio State. That's just not going to happen, which leads, because they're going to key on them. They're going to say Cone beat them. I give Cone 1 touchdown maybe, a couple of picks, and definitely go under in this game. Ohio State under 56. I do have a college pro lock for sure. I might lock another pro game. And college, I'm debating, do I want to play Navy against Tulane at home, LSU against Auburn, the dog in the Michigan-Notre Dame game. It was Notre Dame, and I played them, and then it becomes, well, wait a minute, now Notre Dame looks like they're going favorite. Do I want to take Michigan? So it's a real strange thing. And then I'm trying to get a feel of Memphis and UCF. I don't know what they are anymore. They're up 35-7 against East Carolina, who's terrible. High school teams can beat them. And the coach rests the players. I mean, he comes out with a new quarterback in the second half, and they win 41-22. And I'm twittering the guy what are you laying down for? You got to win that game 60-10. You're laying 33 points. I did not bet the game, but now I'm so lost with UCF. What are you resting players for? What are you doing? You got a new quarterback who's throwing interceptions in key times against Cincinnati, against Pittsburgh. Every big game he's played, he's thrown these interceptions because of their bad play calls. So I'm talking to this coach get your act together, get out. We don't need, you're taking a great program, and they cover and they don't turn the ball over with Mackenzie Milton. I can't wait till he's back. And you got this kid, and he's throwing all these interceptions because your play calling's stupid, and you're not coaching them. I said, and quit resting your players. 35 seconds. This isn't pros. You don't sit out your players and let the other team come back and rest your players and go, well, we won by 10. This is college. You win by 60. If you can't do that, you shouldn't be coaching. Because you're laying 33, and you got to realize you're laying 33, you better win by 40 or more. So I don't know what UCF is anymore. I was shocked SMU nailed Temple. SMU I'm looking at. They're playing tomorrow. So I hate these Thursday games. You got to, you're trying to study, and then it's like, oh, shit, I got to really hurry up on the Thursday night game. And it really, had, like, when I look it over, when I would have said, well, now if it was a normal Saturday game, I would have played, I might have played Troy over South Alabama last week, but they were on Wednesday, and you don't really have time to look at the board and study everything. So anyway, that's what I'm looking at. So it should be a very strong week. I was very happy for all my customers last week. We had a very strong week, and looking forward to that again. A lot of strong college. Like I said, pros, I've already got one lock pro. I've already posted a couple of plays, and I'm looking at a lot on the board there, probably 5 or 6 strong plays, possibly another lock. But I got one lock posted already. It's crazy the way they move these over-under lines. I mean, it's almost like you got to get that thing in Monday night, Tuesday, because by Friday, Saturday, it's moved 6 points. I mean, it's crazy. So you just hope it doesn't burn you if you get it late, and then, it's already moved 6. But that's what happens. So I'll post them Tuesday to get good over-unders, but basically, because I'll see the game and I'll go, but Ohio State is staying at 50, so I'm like, okay, fine, that hasn't, I don't know, I don't think people know which way to take it, because Ohio State played Northwestern 52-3. Now Northwestern has a great defense and no offense. They scored 50 points on them, so, but again, it was 53. It was the same line. It was a 50. I had under, and it was under 56, so it's the same line. You've got Wisconsin, who's a better defense than Northwestern by a little bit, and still with no offense. So, I don't know if Ohio State will get into the 50s in this game, but the way they're rolling, I wouldn't be betting against Ohio State here. Oh, it was Northwestern who gave Wisconsin all they wanted, and that's where Vegas always misses the spreads, or they make them 30 points and they should be 15 or 10, or where the 7-point favorites should be 17. But that's why I'm here to take advantage. All right, everybody. www.teaserking.com. Come on aboard. I'm red hot last week, red hot this week. Feel a lot of good plays out there. All right, everybody. Good luck. Have a great weekend.